That's a tough choice, isn't it? Can you imagine?
Alright, light this candle? Okay, you guys wanna start coffee with the board at 9 o'clock? Beautiful day out there, so we wanna get started right away. And can I ask, just make sure that everybody signs in, so that we have a record of everybody that was here, please, thank you.
Donna Knoxon, one thing that's really been in the news lately is the grocery tax that was eliminated during COVID. A lot of towns are going back to it. The deadline for that is October 25th, so I think we should have it on a COW meeting relatively soon.
It will be on, I don't know if it'll be a cow, but it'll definitely be brought up for discussion.
Yeah, because
After
we
the new
don't
board
need
takes
lost
over.
revenue with all of
Yep.
our wishes and wants.
Yeah, correct. There was, we did look at, instead of doing a grocery tax, increasing the sales tax 0.25%. But, the way our sales tax is set up, we can't do that. So if we wanna keep the income, we'll have to do the grocery tax. Which, when the legislation was passed, it was allowed, municipalities were allowed to pass the grocery tax without a referendum.
Yeah, and the way I understand it is the state's not gonna come to you
Right.
have to.
Yes, you have to pass your own ordinance on that.
And I guess there's a lot, from what I've been reading, that a lot of counties, not counties, villages in DuPage that are participating in
Yeah.
solar.
Yeah, for some town, like Wheaton, I think they figured they were gonna lose about $1.5 million on the grocery tax.
Did we ever get an amount for us on what we do?
I think it was between 600 and 700,000.
Really?
I believe that was the numbers that we had gotten.
On a grocery tax?
Grocery
700
tax.
to 750 is what
Yep.
Manager Harline told me Thursday.
How much?
700 to 750 thousand. That's the loss.
Yeah, cause we got, you figure like, Walmart, Target, they do a lot of,
70 million in grocery sales?
750,000, yeah.
I mean, that seems like an awful big number.
Yeah, we figured Jewel,
Jewel on a Sunday does 125,000
yeah,
Yeah, one day, yeah.
in one day.
yeah,
I can go grocery shopping for two and spend $400.
yeah.
Well,
I feel silly, I walk out there with 50.
I know.
I'm coming to live with you.
That's all you pay for.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Here's that
Well, you got all the.
Yeah, yeah.
And the fresh.
You got two Aldis in.
Yeah, that's true, yeah, I forgot about those, yeah.
Yeah, and the fresh.
That's quite a bit.
Oh, the food market.
Okay, anybody else? Larry?
I just want to make people aware of this, it happened this week. On Monday, I got a letter, very official looking letter from the VA telling me I had lost all my veterans benefits because I made too much money. They gave me a figure which wasn't anywhere near what I made. So, I got pretty pissed off and upset, so I waited a day, I talked to my kids, they said, it could be a scam, so I called the 888 number. Well, the VA doesn't have any 888 numbers. So I called, the first thing the woman wanted was all of my personal information.
Yeah.
And I said to her, if this is the VA, you got that. Oh, no, we need that. So of course I hung up. Then I called the VA and talked to their eligibility department. No letter, no nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scam. So people, and I have since sent emails to Durbin, to Duckworth, Raja, which I don't think he's ours anymore.
No,
And
Sean Caston,
Diane, what's her name?
Diane Sherlock.
Tell everybody that they need to, I don't know how to make this known. So I talked to our postal carrier yesterday, and Jean was bringing the mail out, because she's a veteran. And I told her about it, she says, you're not the first.
Okay.
So I guess it's out there, and it's, you get senior veterans, a lot of them are gonna get
Can we
scared.
put that
and
on the
they're
website?
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see about maybe putting that on the website too, on the Ville Park website,
We
just,
can do that. I mean,
yeah, so, yeah, if you can.
Okay, good.
Do something.
Another good source would be Sonia Bregman, because she does the senior luncheons.
I'm sorry, who's it, what's it?
Sonia, she does
Yeah.
the senior luncheons.
Yeah.
And they talk to the seniors about scams.
Who's next?
The question about the railroad crossing on Ardmore by the station, there was a sign up that said it was gonna be closed for 8 days, and then it disappeared. So never happened. Any knowledge of,
You know what's going on with them?
I just know that.
There was a post on Facebook that they changed the dates,
Okay.
That's the reason
and
why.
they don't know when the date's gonna be yet.
Yeah, it sounds like the railroad contacted us and just said they weren't doing it. The railroad contacted the manager's office and said
Public Works.
they're Public Works,
is
and
it gonna be rescheduled?
I don't
Do you know
know.
what they were gonna do?
Yeah, because the crossing's not that bad there. I was surprised that when I saw
I was
those.
like, well, what are they gonna be doing?
They did
Yeah.
repairs on it last year on one side.
Yeah,
But they almost do it every year though.
Yeah.
Because it used to get real.
and if it's 8 days, I mean that's major
Yeah.
work on it.
Okay, another thing is on Ardmore, the counters and the surveyors and
Mhm.
what's going on there?
Ardmore is going to be resurfaced, pretty much the whole
Strip it off
strip.
and-
Yeah, and so that's the preliminary engineering on that. I think they're doing
When?
It's done in different stages.
next year. Is it going to start next year or this year?
Pretty soon?
I don't know.
Yeah, it may be
I
starting
don't
later
wanna
this
say
year,
something,
but
I don't know for
but it's going to be a long-term project. You know, 'cause
How far on Ardmore from where?
pretty much the whole strip, I believe.
North
Roosevelt
Roosevelt
to
to North Avenue.
Yeah,
And they're doing it in several strips.
yeah,
But they're gonna do it in stages, they're not gonna do it all at once.
yeah, right, yeah. Because obviously it's the main artery. So.
I thought they were doing this survey to make the street operate more efficiently.
That's part of it, because there's counters too. You see, some of them are counters.
Yeah,
Um,
but I was just kind of concerned, if you talk about operating more efficiently, that'd be some way to move more cars down the street.
yeah,
And if there's any involvement of cutting down any trees,
Yeah.
that's not gonna
Yeah.
fly.
no,
That whole south side is just a tree canopy, and it's beautiful, you know, that it has. But if there's any, you know, like doing any widening at the intersections or anything, you know.
yeah. I haven't heard anything on exactly what they're
You won't
doing
until
there.
you get the survey back, the information
Yeah.
back, but, you know, just paving is okay, but doing any major realignment or lane expansion,
Yeah.
I think you'd have a whole bunch of residents messing with that.
Anything happening with GFS? You know, it's down to nothing.
I haven't heard of anything going in there.
It's been
Not
like
a
over a year.
Yeah.
I thought something already
Yeah.
went in there.
No.
There was some. I saw some.
Yeah, there
they-
was something.
something work going on, but it could be just
I
a.
wanted to say, did it say something on the windows about a clinic or?
I didn't
It was
see it.
something. I thought I saw it the other, like, before, but I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So next time I
I
go by, look
thought,
and
yeah,
see if
yeah, I
there's.
thought something was already going
Yeah.
in there, I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's like the same as
I saw
the old
something on the
Taifu
windows.
restaurant.
Yeah, Taifu was my next question.
Haven't heard anything yet on what's
They
going
were-
to. The last I talked to Mark McLaughlin, he thought it was going to be another restaurant, but you know they haven't really gotten any interior plans yet. It's all the exterior stuff they're working on right now.
Okay, and my last question is Yorkies, has anybody been there since it opened?
I have not, but
Yes.
it's yeah.
All the time, I go every
Fantastic.
Sunday for the skirt steak dinner, it's amazing, get it medium.
It is,
It's
everything
amazing. Every
we've
Sunday.
got.
Hey, this is talk about Villa Park. We don't talk about Elmhurst, please.
No, it's fantastic.
Okay, good.
Yeah, that's I've heard that. A lot of people say it's pretty good.
What's, I put in for a tree that 2 years ago, they told me was coming down the summer, I just wanted to make sure it was still on the docket, so I did the app on Monday, and I thought the turnaround time was like 3 days, and I still haven't heard anything,
They start getting back to you? Nobody got back to you?
nobody got back.
I've got a tree marked for tear down 2 on my parkway. It's been months and months. It's got a pink X on it now.
Okay.
What's her?
Donna?
Is that, did you know what the turnaround time is? I thought it was 3 days.
They should be getting back to you within 3 days, yeah. At least a lot, a response saying,
Well, and I know 2 years ago when they came down, they were really hyperactive about, well, we're not gonna be able to replace this tree, and I said, I'm glad you're not putting a tree there, because it costs me $300 a year, every year to get my roots cleaned, so take it down.
and that'll keep up even after the tree's down.
What's
roots,
that?
the roots will keep going even after the tree's down.
Yep, takes a few years for them.
Yeah.
They don't
Yeah,
remove the
but-
stump.
Yeah, they remove the stump.
What, they will?
They will, oh yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They'll take the stump out and they'll put dirt in there.
Like I said, I did the thing on the app, they came out 2 days later, they put a big pink X on the tree
Mhm.
and nothing since then.
What's your address?
50 South Charles,
Okay.
Ville Park.
I think it's also important though, it's also important to remember that as those requests are coming in, I'd rather see the efficiency where we know we have to get so many trees on a
Oh, okay.
block. I think that might be part of that planning process.
Okay.
Yeah, Tina.
Right, I have to mention this because I have a resident who's emailed me asking, asking about skunk control.
Oh,
And if there's something that we can maybe think of some sort of plan, as other townships have a plan, like if you catch it, they reimburse you, some reimburse you all of it, some reimburse you part of it, because I did research around. And then the question of, can we track them ourselves, which I don't think we can
No.
legally.
If you talk to the county will come out, I believe, with traps. The village doesn't, but I think if you talk to county animal control, 2-page in Wheaton, they can.
I called them before over, like, I had a sick skunk in my yard. Oh, and it was like slowly dying, you know, and I called them, they're like, call animal control, call your village, nobody wanted to come and get it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, usually for my past, and it's been a while, but I would just call the county. You can start there, and if not, then
You're the one
What
up here
kind of
that
town is
Elmhurst.
Because we used to have them real bad on, like, behind Lufkin, like, they just about delivered the mail every night at 7 o'clock, they would come and hit the backyard.
Early in the
But
morning.
I'd say it's 4 or 5 years that haven't been bad, so.
I haven't had them real bad by me either, I have rabbits now.
yeah, there's a lot of rabbits. But you know that the coyote sightings are way down. You don't really see too many of those.
Nor foxes.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why the rabbits now are coming back.
Yeah.
Are we aware of the coyote urine crystals that you can buy at Menards?
Hang on, hey, everybody, can we have one conversation, please?
Because
Thank
the
you.
skunk, I had skunks, my neighbor had skunks, my church had skunks. You buy a canister of coyote crystals at Menards, it's like $14. I don't have any skunks, my neighbor doesn't have skunks, and we got rid of them at the church.
Yeah.
It's not trapping them, but they're going away because, it's a natural predator. So these crystals, you can get them all over, but Menards, I know they have them, very effective, very effective.
Okay.
What it is when you sprinkle them, you will smell it for a couple of minutes. It goes away, but the animals will smell it.
Okay, keeps it all away from you.
You mentioned coyote sightings
Mhm.
here in the village.
Well, a couple of years ago, there were a lot of them. We were getting a lot, especially like down by Willowbrook, in that area, like in that area where Donna lives there.
Yeah.
There were sightings all the time of coyotes. You don't really hear them anymore that much. Every once in a while, you'll see something about them.
Yeah.
I see them around my
Oh.
neighborhood.
What's that?
I see them around the south side every now and then.
Yeah. But not as much. It doesn't seem as much as it was a couple of years
Well,
ago.
4 or 5 years ago, they were really bad.
Yeah.
Good eating too.
Oh,
I wanna, the new, village planner, I believe her name's Rachel, top notch, really nice, great hire, really
Okay.
good person. She helped me, get some stuff together, I knew, wanted to get a shed in there. But then I got a list that was contractors that apparently we have, have insurance documents with
Mhm.
over at the building department. And I went through this, I think it's 2 pages long. I went to the first page there, we don't do work in Villa Park anymore, we don't do work in Villa Park anymore, can we either update that or at least try to have an outreach to some contractors? Because it's sort of, if I'm getting, they're calling and they say, oh, we don't do work.
so it's just a list of kind of, they have licenses in Illinois, or in
I
Villa Park.
don't know what it was just a sheet, it's just a sheet.
Did they tell you why?
Yeah, I'll talk to,
I'm not bringing that up.
Did they tell you why?
I'm not bringing that up.
Okay, okey dokey.
You know what the answers are.
Okay,
okay.
Some of them were not polite about it either.
wow.
They were a little upset.
Don,
Airbnbs, I know we had a cow on them and it was pretty much determined that it's not worth it for us to have it.
mhm.
And that if we knew anyone that was doing it, to call it in, whatever. But did we ever get an ordinance in place besides our ordinance that says no rentals less than 30 days? Did anything ever come of that cow meeting, or is it?
We didn't,
completely
yeah, we didn't
revisited?
change, we did not change anything as
So
of,
if
yeah.
we know of an Airbnb, we just call it in and then
Mhm.
we'll fit under the less than 30 days?
That's correct.
Give me a piggyback on that. We've talked in the past about 1330 South Villa
Mhm.
with a lot of, it's a big rental place apparently.
Yeah.
The village did talk to them apparently, and then after that, like, the number of people there went down about 50%.
Yeah.
But it's going back up again,
Oh, is that?
yeah,
Okay.
so. he's
Yeah, cause
got-
they thought, because they didn't wanna kick everybody out right away. They, as their leases came up, they were not
Yeah,
renewing them.
but there's a ton of cars
Okay.
there again. In the last month, it's picked up a lot.
Is there a difference between rental and Airbnb?
Yeah, cause a rental is, the ordinance, I believe, says less than 30, you can't have rentals less than 30 days.
Oh, okay, okay.
So what if it's an Airbnb rental for more than 3 days, something like if they have long
Yeah,
term?
yeah, cause the ordinance doesn't say anything about Airbnb.
Okay.
It just says
It's just
short-term
rental.
rentals, less than, or, you know,
So
less
if
than.
you're doing an Airbnb for just on weekends, you're in violation of the ordinance of 30 days.
Yeah.
Chill on my income. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Does anyone, Al, do you notice on that 1330 property, sometimes it's like, I don't know if it's like the secret indication flag, but sometimes it'll be green and red, and now it's green. What is it, like green means go,
I
or?
haven't figured that.
Maybe that means
color
there's a
scheme
room
yet.
available.
Yeah, there's a flag out there? I didn't see-
No, it's a wooden post,
Oh.
and it will be green and red, and then I went by, we were coming back from the gas station the other day, and now it's just green, so is that like the
Oh, really?
secret?
Is
I
that a
don't know.
secret code?
Secret
It might
Yeah.
be like
vacancy, then is
Maybe,
Yeah, I don't
yeah,
know.
maybe
Yeah.
because they can't say it, that's
I
kind of.
know, yeah.
Yeah,
Very
I don't know,
subtle.
I haven't seen that, I'll have to drive by there.
I guess if you know it, the color, then you know that's what you're doing.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
So you have to know.
You know it, you know it.
It's Christmas.
I don't know short-term renting.
Okay, who's next? Yeah, Tina.
I had asked Major Harlane if he could please get me a list of, all of the properties that the village owns that are vacant.
Village-owned properties?
Yeah, like something that we own for a dog park, scouting out, some areas. If we can, find a property that we currently already own, obviously, maybe utilize it.
Mhm.
Maybe we could start, getting a committee, Jack could get a committee together and we could talk about doing that. And, it doesn't have to be anything extravagant or really big at first, we can always expand upon it. But, I think it would be nice to do, and I think if we could do it possibly on the north side, it would be something nice for the north side people to have, because everybody's always saying they don't get anything. So I know
Yeah.
that there's some property available, next to the old basketball courts, by the pool, is it?
By the north side pool?
Yeah,
By
where the
Jefferson?
kids all hang out, yeah, they said that the kids hang out there all the time,
Oh, yeah.
by the pool, by the
Yeah.
basketball
That might be
courts.
school property.
Yeah,
No,
No,
it was the tennis
that's,
court.
That's really, I think that's really too small.
that's something to look at,
it's possible, but yeah, if I could get a list of that.
Mhm.
Is it by the train tracks?
And that list
Park by train
has been created, I think,
Well,
from our,
why
that
is
was
the
part
dog
of
gonna
the
run away?
comprehensive plan.
Oh, yeah, that's true,
It's gonna
yeah,
be fenced in,
yeah.
Yeah, the train
I
tracks
mean-
are fine.
we don't have too many options, but, I haven't gone there personally and looked at it, but that's why. I
Plus,
asked
there's
for the list.
already a fence between the train tracks
Well,
and property.
yeah,
That Kevin was just saying that list may be already, we may already have one as part of the comp plan, and that was done.
Okay.
So,
That
yeah.
particular space is utilized just in the summer, occasionally when we have swim meets, because
Okay.
when you have, when we have the invitationals and other people come, that's where you set up the tents and that's where you wait for your.
Well, maybe I could find a different spot off the list.
I mean, it could
Yeah.
probably be worked. Just, it is something that's utilized, not
Okay.
often.
I wasn't sure if that part was utilized or not.
I think it's also a good idea that we take a look at that list and see where we're utilizing and where we're underutilizing our space.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Donna.
We had an incident a couple weeks ago with the hoarders on Ardmore, and I would like to see a plan in place when we know something like that is coming up. Do we have the bank put a roll-off box in front of the property or the drive of the property? Because coming down Ardmore and looking like the Clampetts was really not a good look for 3 days straight with crap strewn throughout the lawn.
Quite a sight.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, and, you know, I mean, that's a major pathway through the village. We did not have enough foresight to have at least a roll-off box to know that something was,
Yeah, we weren't we got informed on that late, cause that was all through the county, it had nothing to do with the village. And then once that happened, I think Matt had contacted, 1-800-JUNK or 1-800,
well, and
Yeah, but-
it was funny because that happened on the Thursday. Friday night, the 1-800-JUNK guy showed up and they said, looked at it, they were standing out there, we were going out for dinner, and they were like, we ain't touching this with a 100-foot pole.
No, actually, see, when they were there, they were
And
just,
then they came
yeah,
Sunday, they
they were
finally came
sizing
Sunday.
it up, and then they gave Matt the price on it, and he said, go ahead and do it.
Where is this in?
It was
Right.
on,
Right across from Upton.
On Ardmore, just across from Milton.
that was an eviction, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And then to make it worse, people were picking through the junk
Oh,
and
yeah.
throwing more
Yeah.
junk all over the place.
Yeah.
I just
So we
came
have to
unglued.
pay for that?
No, the bank pays for it.
Well, we
Bank will
pay
have to
for it,
it,
and then
we get
we'll
reimbursed.
get reimbursed. We'll basically lien the property, and then
Gotcha.
we'll be the first lien holder. And things like that, when the village liens it, once it's sold,
Right.
the village gets first lien.
Gives them
Yeah.
the money out, okay.
So it happened at the house on Kenilworth. 24 Kenilworth, was it, Al? Remember the guy had the dogs, and then he passed away, and the kids didn't
Oh,
want.
yeah.
Oh gosh.
And so the village knocked the house down, graded it, and then liened the property, and then when the property was eventually sold, then we got reimbursed on it.
Okay, thank you.
The official swearing is a week from Monday for all the new people?
The
right?
12th. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just forgot. Oh, the Iowa Center, I was wondering, update on.
I'm sorry?
Iowa Center?
The Iowa Community Center?
Yeah. What's-
Right now, it's gonna be used, Station 81, when they do the work there, the equipment's gonna be positioned at the Iowa Center. And then probably when 82 gets worked on, they'll use it. And then after that, I think we're still figuring out what we're gonna do with it.
Position 81.
Fire station.
The fire station.
Fire station's getting revamped. They're adding bathrooms and showers and things.
The one south side or?
On South Side, that's the South Side Station by Willowbrook.
Yeah,
So that equipment will be will be housed at the Iowa Center. And then probably, because they're gonna do the same thing to the North Station. And then they'll do that. And then after that, they may keep a portion of it for storage and then knock the rest of it down.
Hey, is that the area where they're talking about the dog?
No.
That's farther east. Going towards Jefferson School.
Oh, right. But it's basically that area.
Yeah, correct.
Oh, yeah.
I know probably nobody has the answer to this yet, but when they're doing Ardmore, when they're redoing Ardmore paving,
Mhm.
I mean, are we talking they're going all the way down to removing everything, or I'm thinking, because of what I do, access in and out of Willowbrook.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a meeting here a couple months ago and we just discussed it a little bit.
Yeah.
And obviously they're they're not gonna close the street down, but it'll be a pain.
It'll be.
But it'll be, you know, they'll do one side first and then they'll do the other side. As far as exactly what they're doing, I don't think that's
Yeah.
what they're doing right now is with all the engineering, phase one engineering
okay.
going on.
Thank you.
Jim, didn't the tracking safety, didn't they say they were doing it in like 3 segments?
Yes,
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not half
Yeah.
and half.
Yeah,
It'd
right.
be like 3
Correct.
segments.
yes. I think it's gonna be Roosevelt to the Prairie Path to St. Charles.
And then St. Charles.
to North Avenue, or to the bridge.
Would they not do Willowbrook during the summer around there? Just a curiosity.
Yeah.
They'll do it
Yeah. Yeah, the least invasive time, which would be from September to December.
We're not
Always busy.
Yeah.
To your point, because I teach, and we always have some kind of something going on around a school, and it's always like the first day of school, and there's still, I think it has to do with the timing of funds available from the state.
Actually,
so-
actually from the feds.
Is it from the
Yeah, this is
feds?
this is a side project.
So I think that's why the timing, you're like, why
Yeah.
can't you do this in the summer? Well, because they're completed.
Getting in and out of Willowbrook is bad enough.
Yeah.
If you have to go down High Ridge.
Mhm.
I ran a Willowbrook route on a Friday, which is the worst. Took me 20 minutes to get from in front of the school, around the loop, and down High Ridge to Westmore. I should have been dropping off like the last stop. In 20 minutes, no, I hadn't even gotten to Westmore.
That was on a Friday?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh,
so the thought
It's busy on
of
Fridays, yeah.
Yeah,
construction on top of that, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God.
yeah.
Thank God I don't drive for Willowbrook every day.
I'm surprised at the amount of kids that don't walk to school. I
Yeah.
can look
Oh,
out
God,
my
everybody
window
does,
and
yeah.
watch Ardmore and they will, I can walk faster than those cars are moving to walk to
Yes,
school.
yes.
Yeah.
You're
And
right.
no kids walk to school anymore.
No.
I know, it's ridiculous. Do you know at AT, which I realize is not Villa Park, but it is District 88, just over 60% of the students take the bus. I'm like, that is ridiculous. I walked almost a mile and a half to
Yeah.
Willowbrook. I missed the bus by half a block.
And you walk uphill both
Uphill
ways.
both ways,
Yeah, barefoot.
In the snow.
Barefoot,
Yeah,
yes.
uphill both ways.
In a snowsuit.
Yeah.
Yes, but I mean, it is ridiculous, everybody, of course, that keeps me employed, so.
Steve.
Can I get a gauge as to what's happening? I'd just like to get an update as to what's happening at the property at the train station. Are we in a holding pattern until that all goes through the bankruptcy proceedings?
With that, and we're looking at some other things right now. Other things we
What
can
kind of
do.
other things? Do you have another prospect? Are we
We
allowing that
don't,
original guy
we
to-
don't, but we're looking at things that we can do to. I don't know if we can.
Pretty up
Things we can't really talk about right now.
brought up.
Yeah.
Right, but are we looking at things to at least make it prettier
We've
while we're
discussed,
waiting?
we've discussed that, good points and bad points of doing it, you know, so it's still in discussion stages. Right now, it's, as far as the owner, he has submitted some new plans, but they were deficient, so he's gotta get new plans in, but, yeah, the foreclosure is still going on, and we're still looking at things that the village can do.
Okay.
July 11th is when that court case, Judgery Summary,
Summary.
Summary, there we go, I said it right.
Summary
Summary
judgment.
Thank you. I gotta have a little bit more coffee this morning to get up and wake up here,
Yeah.
but July 11th is when they're having that, and that will determine a little bit more direction. But like President Kazone said, the board has been talking about ways in which we can put the village in the best position to make sure that a development happens there.
Okay.
What is
So I have
judgment
a
summary,
follow-up
who brings that forth?
So that's between the developer and his loan company, Vassar. and they're in a court case right now.
So I'm assuming when he was here last and wanted to speak, but he wasn't on the agenda claiming he had funds, he once again did not have funds.
So these are discussed. So at the end of the day, what happened was that he originally had an RDA that expired, and the village did not give him a new one or extend that based on him not being able to provide our Mark McLaughlin, our director of development, wasn't able to supply him with the proper paperwork moving forward. I believe that he says that he has plans right now, and I believe that he has to go through the whole process again. This is something that Mark is working with right now, but again, there's really not a whole lot we can do until we know what happens at summary judgment.
What is an RDA?
It's a redevelopment agreement
Oh, okay,
with the village. Yeah.
thank you.
So I think that just because it's such a hot topic and it's a topic that everybody always keeps asking
Oh,
and maybe is a little under knowledge, maybe we could just give some more updates every so often. I mean, even if it's just to say the same thing over and over, because I don't want, there's a lot of people that just think that the village owns the property for one, which we don't, and two, just doesn't want to do anything about it, you know, and I think that we just need to
Yeah.
somewhat educate everybody a little
That
bit
it's
more on
tied
the
up in
topic.
course.
I think-
Right,
Yeah.
And it would at least show people that the village
It's
hasn't forgotten about it.
correct,
Yeah.
that
We're
involved.
still on this,
Yeah.
we're
Right.
working on it.
I know it's on our website, I know it's here, I know like it's hard to get, I mean, we are doing as much as we can to get the word out, but I do know that tons and tons of people watch the meetings, so maybe just an update in like somebody's report, the president report, the trustee report, whatever, somebody, just to kind of give like, hey, here's just a little update of where we're still at or what's going on.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Do they still have the banner up? I know that at one
No.
point recently there was banners that still
The
up.
signage was taken down.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he didn't have a permit for the sign, so. yeah. Oh, okay.
False
You know what, there,
advertising.
if you look at the village manager's report this week, there's an update on it.
Perfect,
Yeah.
perfect,
I
yeah,
think-
so
oh, go ahead, I'm
every
sorry.
so often, you know, just,
Yeah.
you know, even the manager's report, I don't know how many people see that or how many people it goes out to, but I know
Yeah.
we're doing our best to get the word out.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's important to note though that the board this is a priority.
Right.
And it has been, we just have to work the correct channels
This
to
is,
make that development happen. But we definitely need that property to be developed for, you know, the better sake of Villa Park here.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
for our growth, yeah.
yes, Steve.
So, follow-up question, unrelated, was something that came up at a recent board meeting about changing the policy for maternity leave or maternity compensation. I wondered if there's been any progress on that moving forward.
Well, there was discussion at the last meeting, and then once the new board gets in, that'll be brought up again.
Okay, so
Yeah.
wait until after May 9th.
I think it's also important to note about that is at our last board meeting, the board indefinitely postponed it, but that doesn't mean that we are not paying attention to it. That just gives us the time to do our research and to get everything aligned, because this is an important topic for us in Villa Park. And like we have said that, you know, we value our employees and we want to make sure that they have the best moving forward. So we are discussing this and it will be coming back up eventually here.
Okay,
Anyone know if, and maybe I'm too old school, if our insurance has a disability policy that they could pay extra through our insurance, or, you know, like a lot of insurances don't have dental, but you can buy a dental plan, if there's something they can do for disability for maternity?
I think we have long-term disability.
I don't think that maternity
And
But yeah, it
qualifies
doesn't,
for that.
It
No.
doesn't qualify
Should have
unless you
pregnancy.
have a
Right.
very severe situation.
Yes.
If you're not considered.
But do we have a disability
Yes.
plan in place for, let's say, a mother
well, I think
that
it's,
all of a sudden needs bed rest and can only work 3 months versus 6 months?
yeah, I think
That
the
was
long,
one question, because like, I know my husband has a disability plan, not through his union insurance, but he took out a separate plan that if anything ever happened, he would not lose income because he had the disability.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people that do that now. It's a supplemental insurance. When I worked for the state, they had that as well, and it's kind of a backup plan just in case. But that's, I believe that's separate from the policies we have, but I don't know exactly what.
I think that goes through, Irma,
Okay.
the state insurance. I believe that, I think we'd have to check on that, but is that how it works?
Liz is looking into
Yeah.
it.
But is
Okay,
that
so-
something, so maternity wouldn't qualify?
Maternity's not under that, no.
Unless
He
you're
doesn't
disabled
qualify
from-
as disability.
Yeah.
On bed rest, it's
Maternity,
not.
the only time it would qualify is if you have a severe situation, like a medical
Yeah.
emergency type of pregnancy or, you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Right, well, that's
Yeah.
what my question was.
Yeah.
And that would fall under the medical insurance, not
Yeah.
disability.
Not
I believe Villa Park has short-term, I don't know if we have long-term, but I believe we do have short-term.
It may be short-term is through ours, and then long-term is through Irma, I
Yeah,
don't.
Irma.
But, Cheryl was just saying that Liz is looking at that, the assistant village manager, she's looking at that right now. Yeah, Rolf,
Two things, when we have, the Villa Park, calendar, and so therefore we have the little board meetings, or what do you call those, committee meetings there. On that, are all committee meetings supposed to be held here?
No.
Okay.
well, they're
We put
supposed to,
something on there that if they like have their committee meeting or where it is, because I got one of the neighbors said, hey, I wanna go to the, traffic and safety committee, but I don't know where they're here.
It's on the
But there was
agenda.
other committees that don't,
The address
can we
is
put
the
that
top
on
of
there?
agendas.
it's on there, Cheryl's just saying,
I don't want you here.
it's on the top of the agenda. Now, I think all of the commissions meet here with the exception of Parks and Rec meets at Iowa, or at, the new rec center. The historical
It's
commission
moved here
meets,
now.
oh, it is moved here, okay, so, all right. So most of them are here, but if not, it's listed on the agenda where it's at.
Second thing is we are looking for a part-time police officer. What's the logic between making a police officer part-time versus that? Do we have not enough need for that police officer, or?
Dad, yeah,
It's a lot of money. Part-time, you get benefits, right?
yeah, but, yeah, I don't know, I'd have to look at
Maybe
who
it's
they're looking
possible
for.
somebody's on leave that kids to cover while they're gone.
Perfectly
Who
logical.
knows? I'm not, I'm just making suggestions.
Um,
I'm not sure, but.
I'm checking to see if they are posted, and it does show the location. However, for the May 13th meeting for Parks and Rec, it's saying Iowa Community Center, so we may want to
Alright.
update that.
That might want to update.
Yeah.
And I believe the building is
It's not-
closed
it's
to
not
public.
safe.
Yeah.
It's not saving
I'll
it.
call Dorita. She does the agendas and I'll call.
Just so
You'll
that they know
find it
it's
all
on those websites, I don't know if it's on websites.
I'll talk to her, I'll talk to Riley, I don't know why that isn't changed,
Yeah.
because I know the agendas.
That's all right.
No, it's all right.
Yeah,
It's just
well,
wanna
we
make
need
sure
to get that
it's-
changed on the website, definitely.
I don't want anybody going up there.
Hi, my name is P. Scott Jones. I'm near the Villa Train Tracks. And I actually have two things right with one. Going through communications with you guys this week, I noticed you have a communications specialist. I don't know what that role would be, but going back to informing our community, is there a byline there?
What do you mean byline?
Is that part of their work level?
Yeah, she gets out, actually she does a great job, Riley, Pillard, but she gets all that information out to the website, she'll post it, on Facebook, on, the social media. She sends out the alerts, I believe, anything that you get on the app, if you're on the app. So yeah, so she takes care of that, she
Having a
doesn't,
position like that shouldn't be too
Yeah.
difficult to keep us informed.
yeah, absolutely, no, she does a good job of it too.
Great. Really, thank you.
You said you had two things?
Second one,
Yeah.
Yeah. with everything that's going on around the world, and particularly in my neighborhood, I have a list of 7 people who are concerned for their safety. And so in the past couple of weeks, I've opened up and started talking to people. Among that was, do our police officers or does our village have any plan or is making any considerations for how to deal with ICE or any other agency from the federal level to keep our residents safe and our police officers?
Yeah. As far as direct plans, I don't know of any, but I'm sure that, the chief and the deputy chief have looked at that. And we can find out if there's anything, going, but
Yeah.
I don't know of anything right now that they're doing differently, or if they have plans in place, but I'm sure they do.
I spoke with Sergeant Hack, I believe his name,
Okay.
some amount of time. And he did not seem to understand that I'm not angry and that I'm not some left or right wing nut. I just understand what's going on. I read incessantly, listen to the news, I don't watch it anymore. But I also do my due diligence and research. And to be summarily dismissed by half, and that was a call that was returned from the police chief's office. I'm not angry, but I'm concerned.
That's typical of the
Yeah.
police to summarily dismiss you.
I think,
Well, that report,
I would disagree with that.
oh, I highly agree
I
with.
think that Villa Park's Police Department is hands down the best, especially because I lived in Addison prior to moving here. And I can tell you that I probably, in my previous marriage, had every police officer on the force in Addison at my house at some point. And I won't go into details, but I did absolutely zero. So
And I've
when
had
I
that
moved here,
experience
they were
with-
on it, you know what I mean? So.
And I've had that experience with the
Yeah.
Villa Park Police.
Oh, okay.
I think
I
going,
think everybody's
More than
experience
once.
is different.
I think
but-
going back to your concern though, I think you have a valid concern as well.
So do
I don't know fully what the village is planning to do, outside of what the governor has already said as being a sanctuary city and that. However, I would like to get to the bottom of that too, so if after the meeting, you could share your contact information with me, once I find out, I could get back to you on that.
Great. I do have to leave by 10 because of a
Perfect,
protest in the city.
so do I.
Is Villa Park a sanctuary city?
No.
The city of Chicago.
City of Chicago and the state of Illinois is basically a sanctuary state. But
Well, and he also wants to charge us 30 cents a mile for every mile you drive in your own car.
well, they're looking for money.
Well, I know they are, but why should we
Yeah.
have to pay that?
Well, it's gonna, eventually that's gonna happen because the motor fuel tax is a big money maker for the state, well, and local communities. And as more people are driving electric cars, that MFT is going down, so eventually, if we go to electric cars, eventually there'll be some type of tax like that.
But Pritzker is the one that's pushing the
Well, he's-
electric cars.
Yeah.
And now he's gonna turn around and
Absolutely.
And how do they know if you drove that mile outside of the state of Illinois?
That's something
I
that's
know,
gonna
I'm
be,
sorry,
that's
that's a
something down in
trigger for me.
Springfield they're gonna have to worry about.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Vicky,
Yep, so I had a couple concerns regarding the union.
okay.
So, and I'm speaking as a citizen more so because I live in that area versus being in my community. So this is regarding traffic. As I will say, I'm on the traffic and safety committee, just to full transparency. But this is as I live in that area. And, I was really concerned regarding, that they're kind of moving forward with this. And still, the traffic studies that they're using are from 22 and 24. There's nothing recent. And we're looking at sometimes where they're saying that, probably within the next 5 years, we're gonna be at 95% capacity. And then, looking at
Capacity for
their
what?
capacity for the intersections, in some intersections that they said, and that's in 5 years. And then I'm looking at their land use and their trip generation. They have a 224 unit building going up. And they say the amount of trip generations out of that building during the weekday morning hours would be 67
Which building?
every day. The one on Villa by the
Oh,
across
yeah,
the
that's
Boa
my
Peak.
favorite topic.
And I'm like going, how do you get 67 trips coming out of that building in the morning with 224 units in there? At least every unit should have a parking space. It's regulated, some could have more. Plus, they're doing 2 fast casual restaurants, which they do account for those, but they don't also, I believe they're still providing some parking for the rec center.
I
For the
think there's
village.
96.
For the
96.
Yes, that's not even included in this. So that's not even included in their study. So there are very many concerns regarding this because, I don't, and to be honest, I brought this up even when we were bringing the rec center, saying, what are we gonna do about that? They're gonna want a stoplight at Wildwood or Kenilworth or somewhere, or another traffic, or a stop sign or something along that lines. It's like, no. And it's kind of like, that's why, it's very difficult. We've looked at those things before, so those are not probable. So what are we, I think it's incorrect that they're moving forward with this, and we're letting them go forward with a most recent 2024 study, which only 2 intersections are actually listed within the information that they had, and they had several more in the first one. Then, we also have, we don't even know what's going on with the train station, based on what the train station plot was beforehand. They had everybody going out north on Ardmore, so then they had to go to Vermont to either go to Addison or Villa. If they have to go to Villa, that's gonna increase a lot more traffic going down Villa. Granted, that's in the future, but it will happen. But we do need to take that into consideration.
Absolutely.
And how are we going to address that? Because I think their numbers are incorrect, because when they say they're looking at the trip generation manual, they just say they're looking at the land use information, but what land use? Are they looking, because I remember when the guy came from Park, he was looking at the urban amount of traffic, because that included people being able to take the bus or to walk places or things like that. Our city probably won't take the bus to the train station, or you won't take the bus to the grocery store, you won't walk there or back, especially from that location. So I have had a lot of concerns regarding that, and I'm just saying, I think it's incorrect. Plus, the other thing is studies are taken before people were mandated to go back downtown to work.
Vicki, if I can ask you really quick, has traffic and safety, the commission that you were on, have you had any discussions at all about this? Has staff brought you any of this information prior to this development going up?
We had one meeting with them, and this was last year. When they first did this one, because this is from 2024. They came and presented this to us, and we had a lot of concerns. And they said, well, this isn't the final plan. So we were waiting for them to come back. And then all of a sudden, we're kind of like, oh, it's moving forward? So we were kind of like, what?
Good for you for doing your research on that, because I have been asking the traffic commission at board meetings, the traffic on Wildwood, getting our parking put back where it was for 30 years. And my daughter has already almost gotten hit down there. That whole zippy thing, nobody's paying attention. And that all wraps up with that. When that building goes up, we're gonna be screwed on Wildwood.
No, I disagree. I think people, they are looking at that very closely. And that's all part of the process of doing that.
The parking spaces, not the ones in the parking lot,
Yeah.
the ones outside on the public roadway,
Yeah.
aren't even properly marked. Sometimes people park parallel, sometimes people park vertically. It's all over the place. And I'm really getting tired of being sloughed off about the traffic issues on Wildwood. No one can even tell me why they moved our parking to begin with. So we get to park by the bushes in the mud and the dirt, and no one can tell me why.
Yeah, I talked to Mike Guerrero about that. He is looking at that. That will get changed. Yeah, because that is, but again, that's got to go through traffic safety.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we are still looking at it, it's just taking us a little bit of time, so
Yeah.
it's
No
still
problem,
on our
I
mind.
know
Yeah.
things take time.
I'm working on it.
Thank you very
I'm doing
much.
everything I can for
So
you.
my bigger issue that I'm hearing isn't just about the traffic study, because I'm happy that you got it 2024, because the last that I had heard it was 2020 and they did it in December, and it was like nobody was out anywhere around Christmas time. So I'm happy to hear you have that.
And COVID.
But I think that this becomes a little bit more problematic because we as a board are told that we should listen to what you have already, the information that committee and commissions have already looked at, poured through, and then we're given a recommendation. And so if we're getting a recommendation here and it's in the agenda and it says this is the recommendation and it's gone through planning and zoning, or it's gone through traffic and safety, I'm a little bit more concerned about that issue, even though I understand that this particular issue is important. I just feel like by the time it gets to us, we're told that you guys have already had this conversation. And it doesn't sound like that's always happening.
Like I said, we have one meeting with them, but then we had a lot more questions. And they said, they would have more information for us, and we've never had them come back.
Can I ask who makes the agenda for your commission? Is it staff or is it?
Staff.
It's staff, okay.
So, I mean, we don't have any, we never made any recommendations, to my knowledge,
For,
for the union.
we just put it on the agenda
Okay.
as an agenda item going
Yeah.
forward.
I agree, it's you'll vote to have that
Well,
put back on the
To keep
agenda?
things on
Or
the
the staff says we're gonna put this back on the
no,
agenda?
we put it on the agenda our last meeting.
Okay.
Both your section of the parking and as one item and as a separate item for the whole situation with traffic, DPRC, the union,
Yeah.
Villa, that whole section there. So there's actually two agenda items, one is for your parking, the other
Yeah.
one's for the traffic
I'm
situation.
hoping to not be working on the next Traffic and Safety Commission meeting.
Honestly, I'm hoping to be able to get a recommendation done for your parking at the next meeting. And then send it to the village board for them to mess it up, but.
Thank you guys.
We're taking recommendations, that's all we do.
So I don't know what.
We assume that conversation has already been, because we can't be everywhere, even though we'd like to. It's not enough time. So we rely on you.
So we could just, I don't know what the process, we'd even look at it further or whatever before they go, because obviously I think they're working on plans for the building.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they've submitted anything at this point in time.
Oh, everything's been submitted.
So
That's
basically
ready to go.
saying who is it, has it gone through planning and zoning completely and?
Yeah.
It has, it's gone
It
through,
has, it's ready
it's
to
been
go.
approved by planning and zoning.
So we really have no recourse, this basically is going up, and we're gonna have to deal with this traffic, so stating today, it's like, I don't want people coming back to us in like a year or two saying, hey, we need a stop sign, or we can't get through here, or we can't do this, because their study was inadequate. And that needs to go somewhere, because it is inadequate, I think, or they have not looked at the current pace of the village or where we're at right now. So that's gonna become their problem and not, it should be our problem.
Yes, Steve?
So I would challenge anybody here to go to Villa Avenue around 4 o'clock, any school day,
Yeah.
and just look at the lineup of traffic from
Yeah.
St. Charles all the way to Roosevelt.
Yep.
It's practically almost like a continuous line. So
Yes, oh yeah, I live there.
it's gonna be.
I take Myrtle. So, and I have to say, one thing I will say thank you for is on the Prairie Path at Myrtle and Prairie Path.
Yeah.
But way better signage.
Yeah.
Thank you. Much
Yeah,
better.
the plan is to put those on all
Yeah.
the
Much better,
crossings.
so it makes everybody more aware, so thank you.
You're absolutely right, Villa used to be able, I mean, as a bus driver coming from AT, I used to be able to take Villa all the way down to Roosevelt, and that was a much quicker route. And now it's backed up. I mean, from Madison to St. Charles Road. It's just bumper to bumper. Already, without an apartment building there.
Ardmore's the same way.
Ardmore's the same way.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I think you have a lot of people that are coming off of Route 83 and shortcutting to get to Lombard. They fly down Jackson.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
They fly down Madison.
Yeah. Yeah, because with all the construction on 83, 83 is all backed up, so everybody's looking at the
The
alternates.
shortcuts.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have to go to Route 83,
I mean, Oak Brook Terrace has that same problem with their, I forget what street, MacArthur, I think, people
Yeah.
coming off of Butterfield and going through and,
if
you know,
you know your directions, you can go from Butterfield and cut all the way through.
all the way to 22nd.
Get to
Yeah.
83.
One last thing, just one thing, when you guys are updating the website or the app or something like that, could they possibly maybe do that at night? I mean, the other reason why is like I actually I was trying to put in a request for the party trailer or whatever, and I couldn't get to it. Couldn't get to anything, so I called her and she was, sorry, can't say her name.
Zoraida.
Zoraida, yeah, she was very sweet, very kind. She helped me through, so I actually did send her an email with it. But she's like, well, they're updating the site right now. This was like 2 o'clock on a Friday afternoon.
Yeah.
Not a good
I
time.
don't know, just maybe a thought, maybe one do it was on the weekend, like your bank does it on the weekend or something, you know what I'm saying? So, because then she didn't know if somebody actually had it or not or whatever, so it was very challenging to figure that out, so
You
just.
get what you pay.
Okay, anyone else?
That's it. One quick little thing, the parking trailers that she was talking about,
Mhm.
last summer our block did it, and they gave the little balloons that blow up and they throw them at each other.
Mhm.
Nobody wanted to pick up all those little balloons.
No, yeah.
I had to go out and pick up those little balloons, please stop giving them, please. Because the guy goes, oh, the rain will wash them away, down to that goes to the creek, and kills the animals. Please stop, you need the balloons.
Okay.
You need no more.
Should I suggest you get another one, because those things are awesome?
We have two.
I have two now.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Yeah, actually, yeah, my neighbor, I just saw one of my neighbors this morning.
I can't afford it anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, I.
We have two. I don't think we're buying another one.
I got a new budget for this year to buy another.
They got cut off.
100 chairs, you get a
It did.
speaker, you
They
get.
got cut off.
We had a pay phones picnic
We
day.
didn't have, we didn't have money in the budget.
Okay, anybody else? Yes.
I got a quick thing. I'm just curious, so how's the transitioning going? Like from one to the other, how does that work and how would like me being a
Excuse me,
new member
Tina, can
coming
you
on?
repeat what you're saying? I can't hear a word what you're saying, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was curious to know how the transitioning from one president to the other goes, and like me being a new member coming on, I know I received an email from Major Harline, which I will be getting with you for a date, but is there anything else that helps everybody to transition into their new position and has any transitioning?
There's, DuPage Managers and Mayors has, and I think it's actually going through Metropolitan Mayors Caucus this year. They do a seminar, like it's a one-day seminar for new elected officials, which is really good. You know, I went through it, I think,
Carrie, didn't they
Carrie
offer
did, and
multiple things that you
They
attended?
did not, that was the only one that I offered, but I'm wondering, are you speaking specifically to Philip Park
I'm
issues,
speaking
or are you
specifically
speaking
to our board, yeah, like, so like, I know like, you guys are board members, so you are privileged to more information that I have been, in the past. But like, so how does it hand from one
Yeah.
to the other and what it can be done to help me kind of fit in a little bit?
Yeah. One of the things that I'll do to making sure, and I know that we're meeting
Yes.
on our own, but that's one part of the discussions that we'll have, is just kind of try to get you up to date on, up to speed on things.
Okay.
We'll talk about some of the important things that you should know as a board member, things like that. As far as the rest of the transition, everything's going fine. Both President Kazone and myself have been talking with Manager Harline and making sure that there's a smooth transition here. We also have a transition to a new clerk as well, so that is in the process as well. Moving forward, we want to make sure everybody is on the same page so that way it was a smooth transition.
And then I have to come pick up my book too.
If you want to get it today. You know.
Yeah, that's fine, I'll grab it today.
Maybe
Well,
not
here, I have 4 different color highlighters, green, yellow, pink, and orange. And I ordered all my books online, so I'm like reading and reading and more reading. I just wanna make sure that I understand like how motions are done and you know what I'm saying? And then if I have like any questions, am I able to kinda ask somebody?
Ask
else?
anyone,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, everybody's
And
is
even
always
on the
willing to
dais,
help,
you're like, just ask, yeah.
yeah. And the biggest thing too is try to get as much done before the meeting. Get your questions answered, and you know, if you still have a question, then bring it, but, try to, you know, get all of that done. You get your packet, read through it, and if you got questions, contact whoever is involved, whoever your questions should be directed. Get all that done before the meeting. And then,
Packets can be
'cause you could-
600 pages,
I
so
know, the
understand
last
that,
one was
and sometimes
500
you'll get them all
pages,
until
what,
Friday.
4 or something like that?
So I would say if you have questions on the dais, it's okay if you have questions on the dais.
Yeah. but-
Karen, what was something that you attended after you got, on the board? It was like on a Saturday or something.
That's what,
Is
that's
that what the
President
same
Guzon's
thing?
talking about. It was a one day DMMC, was like, I think 5 hours long. They gave lunch and it was helpful, but it didn't tell me what to do in my
But
role.
what
It was
is-
kind of a general overview.
But was
for-
that mandatory or
No,
No,
no.
why do they not make it mandatory? Cause I recall you being the only one and you thought it was helpful, but not an answer all, but you felt that it helped you.
yeah, I mean, it gave me a little bit more stability as you walk into something you're not exactly sure.
Yeah.
So you
But IML I think is more,
yeah.
but it would be more beneficial personally.
Yeah, and I don't think you can necessarily make something mandatory for an elected official to attend. It's on their own accord if they want to learn or not. But there are a lot of other resources out there, like the IML.
Well, I thought because of the legal implications of being an elected official, that it could be made.
I would argue that that's
Mandatory.
something that voters should pay attention to at election season.
No, but
Quite frankly.
I'm talking as far as what they can and cannot do on the dais.
That's, I don't know that anybody's
Well,
ever,
Well, we also have a village attorney as well,
Yeah.
who is supposed to just ensure
Coordinate
that we
the
are
wellness, yeah.
staying on track. But ultimately, that comes down to the individual board member
So
who's
does the
elected here.
IML have a separate book or a
The IML
separate?
has
yeah,
lots of
IML has
resources.
training, they have online
Yeah.
training. Brad Cole is exceptionally responsive, so I've had he's the director of IML, and you can get through to him with any questions. If I have a legal question, or I'm like, this is kind of fuzzy or hazy, even if I'm hearing something from our attorney, and I just need
So the
clarity.
only one you were offered was the one that you went to on the Saturday
That's
through
the only one
DMC?
locally here, yeah.
But does
it is
IML
about-
offer,
IML offers a lot of different trainings and courses. You
or
can
are
just-
they free though for?
They're not free, but
They
the
have a lot of
municipality,
videos.
they have a lot of
This stuff is
videos,
good,
but
yeah.
the municipality here has the authority to pay for those trainings for especially new trustees coming on board. And that's something that I would highly recommend
What they're doing.
the village consider is
For the next
continuing,
budget? I agree.
continuing, and I believe it is in the budget already for training.
That's how I was able to.
And so it allows new trustees or even seasoned trustees to refresh on individual topics or like the broader scope of things as well. But that is something that incoming trustees like Tina will be able to take advantage of. And I strongly encourage that.
It's not even, like, you don't have to have like an Invilla Park address. Anybody could go onto the IML website and you can look at all of they record the sessions. They don't always get them out there right away, so it's a little bit of a delay, but for the conference that I attended in September, they have the archive. And so you can go there and you can look at, you can pick and choose whatever topic you're looking for. And you can sit and listen to the 45-minute presentation, and you can put down double speed, you can do whatever you need to do in your timing. But yeah, I would suggest IML.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, anyone else?
I'll talk with you about where to find the resources and how to get you assessed with that.
Thanks.
Okay, well, thanks everybody for coming out. Enjoy the week. We're at Spring Sweep will be the 17th, 2 weeks from today. So get all your recycling and paper that you want.